Back with React Court, it has been 2 weeks, which is crazy. Um, there's been a lot of strife in the world. There's been a lot of situations rife for a little debate on the internet. Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? You know, I'm ready to be back here. Everyone's saying you're the asshole. What just because I took a vacation with my baby? Am I the asshole for taking a vacation with my baby? I don't think so. Our second React Court of the week here might be We Want Plates, which I believe is a subreddit for being served things in restaurants in bizarre ways. Like the classic example I always think of is this: there was this restaurant in the Bay Area that went viral for the wrong reasons because they served you your meal on like an iPad, like on a powered down Apple tablet. Anyway, we'll see. But for now, let's just go look through. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for giving a girl a ride to a party but not home from it? She said I stranded her. I do want to say I have no respect for the post that, and this is all of them, that makes it look like there's no way they couldn't be the asshole, and then they're obviously, or there's no way they could be the anything but the asshole, and then they're clearly actually just being nice. But anyway, here we go. Am I the asshole for giving a girl a ride to a party but not home from it? I was going to a friend's afternoon garden party at her house. Tell me you're part of the 1% without telling me you're part of the 1%. My plan was to drive there, stay at the party for a while, then afterwards meet up for a date at a brewery near my friend's house. Then potentially stay over at my date's place, which was close to my friend's house, or get an Uber home, but not drive my car after I've been drinking. This is written by a streamer. You know how I can tell? No rational person would have raked them over the coals and assumed that their plan was drunk driving. Most rational people would have given them the benefit of the doubt, but instead, they're baking like every possible bad faith assumption and counter argument into the statement. So instead of just being able to say, my plan was to take an Uber back, they have to go through all the rationale and reasoning to be above criticism. But anyway, when I was about to go to the party, I mentioned I'd be driving there and bringing a car full of firewood in group chat. A girl who's a friend of a friend asked me if she could get a ride to the party. She was coming from the same area as me. I said, sure, we went to the party. We didn't really hang out at the party. I was talking to other friends. That night, I left the party, leaving my car parked near my friend's house to go on the date. It went well. I went to her house, which was close by, for the night. Quit bragging, man. Quit bragging. What I didn't know was the girl I'd driven to the party was waiting for me to be ready to leave, thinking I was still at the party and would be driving home that night. She thought that because we'd come together, we'd also leave together. She texted a few times, but I didn't see the texts. She was also looking for me and asking other people if they'd seen me, but the people she happened to ask didn't know me well and didn't know that I'd left. Can I tell you, right now, this is totally fine, just bad communication. She should have asked, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's unreasonable for her to assume that she's also getting a ride home from the person who gave her a ride there. That's just the communication mishap. Now, I'm deliberately not reading any further ahead. Do you think that in the next 4 paragraphs it's all going to fall apart? You don't comment if you've read further ahead, but so many of these are like 75% of the way. Just normal human communication errors happen all the time. Then it's, she told my friend that she got abandoned at the party and was forced to sleep in the woods, and now nobody will talk to me anymore. The next morning, I saw her text. I texted her back to say, sorry, I'd missed her messages. I hadn't been going back that way last night anyway, though. She sent me an upset message saying you don't just give someone a lift 40 minutes from home and then not drive them home, stranding them late at night. You can't push lunch. You just can't. Whose bag is this? I almost tripped on it. I said I didn't realize she was also asking for a lift home. And then he's like, that'll be $30, and everybody clapped. I thought when she asked me for a lift there, she literally just meant a lift to get there. If she said there and back, I would have said I couldn't promise that. I wasn't sure I'd be going back that way. She said I was being deliberately stupid. It honestly didn't occur to me, like I feel it's presumptive to assume. Am I the asshole for driving another girl to a party but not home? You're the asshole for making this post, and it's the top post of Am I the Asshole filter this week. For the whole week, this is as spicy as it got. I don't even think this is an everybody sucks here. I think this is a no asshole situation, but they both made one critical mistake. Look, putting myself in the shoes of the girl, I would assume, I would definitely also ask, but I would assume that it's a package deal. I mean, if you're driving like 40 minutes away, there was no point during the 40 minutes where you couldn't have been like, hey, are you coming back as well? Like, or, can I also get a drive back? And then, even if he said no, at least you would then be able to plan around it. But the fact that they didn't talk about it over the course of the entire drive is kind of baffling to me. But I can understand why she would assume that she would also be getting a drive back. Because, I mean, we were going 40 minutes away. I mean, I'm not saying he's beholden to her, but you would assume that maybe like that's the easiest way, the most frictionless way for it to happen. But then also from OP's perspective, I mean, I do think it's a little STEM lordy. I don't know if that's the terminology I would use given more time, but it's a little STEM lordy to be like, well, you merely asked for a ride there, which I complied with. You never said anything about the ride back and that omission. I will just say, honey, you reap what you sow. That being said, they are also right. So I think I think this is just literally like, look, it's no fun if I just say everybody's okay here. Who has 51% of the blame for the situation? The passenger. Absolutely, in my opinion. Because I think it's on the passenger to be in control of their own well-being in that sense. You got to figure out, like, you don't just go to the airline counter and be like, one ticket to New York, and then show up at the airport like for your return trip that you don't even have a ticket for, and be like, well, what the heck? I gotta buy a second ticket now? You gotta be in charge of your own itinerary there. But I don't know. This one's honestly just kind of boring, if I'm being straight up with you. I think that, yes, just the fact that you've posted it is like, I mean, I just consider it unworthy of even a post. There's got to be something better. How about this one? Hold on. I don't know if you can hear Tomo beating down my door. Tomo. Well, welcome. I don't think that the word ride implies that it's there and back. I do think that's the assumption I would make, but I don't think there's an implication there necessarily. Am I the asshole? Hold on. Am I the asshole for not wanting our son to bring women into our house in the middle of the night? Oh no. Let's see. This one definitely seems a little spicier. Arguments are horrific. That's just, I don't know. Why does it start like a song by The National or something? Arguments are horrific. The arguments arise regarding our oldest son, 25, and his refusal to adhere to a rule that neither his longtime, short-term, temporary, etc. girlfriends are allowed to come in our house in the middle of the night. It's a simple rule. No girls in our house without our knowledge in the middle of the night. That is not a simple rule, okay? Because the first thing I want to ask is, what is the middle of the night? If he's bringing a girlfriend over at like 8:30 and you go to bed at 8, like, what are you supposed to do? If it's like 3 a.m., then we can start to talk. But like, okay, let's take a look. Tomo, I love you, man. I love you. Could you just back it up a little bit? Just back it up. Unfortunately, our 25-year-old son, he continues to flaunt. Our sexy hunk son continues to flaunt this rule. Hey, mom and dad, I'm not just going to bang this girl in the bushes like you want. I'm going to go home to my safe, warm bed. instead of finding a porta potty somewhere. We have outdoor security cameras, and we are able to see him sneak his girlfriends. Well, he keeps using etc. I don't know. I don't know why he's being so weird about it. Able to see him sneak his girlfriends, etc., in and out of the house at all hours of the night. As background, this issue came to head a number of years ago when we told our son his longtime girlfriend could no longer come upstairs after 10 p.m. where we have our family bedrooms. 2 days after we implemented this rule, he was caught breaking it. He did it again a few years later. Honest question, dude, are you stupid? So the only interpretation that I think it's possible to glean from this is that the son's bedroom is also upstairs, right? So they sleep on the same floor, but his girlfriend is not allowed to also come upstairs into his bedroom after dark. Hold on, this cat, man. I love you, Tomo, but why you want the pets right now, buddy? Oh, just go into the box. There you go. Oh, and now he's gone. He's like, I want some more. This is insane. Like, this is in my opinion, kind of almost an insane rule to have for like, I mean, I don't want to get too into the issue, I guess, but even for like a teenage child to be like you can't have your boyfriend or girlfriend upstairs after 10, but a 25-year-old is well beyond kind of the bounds of absurdity. Since then, there are numerous instances of girls we know and girls we don't know that come and go into our home at all hours of the night. The latest occurred with this long-term girlfriend being snuck into the house at 5:30 and leaving before the house awakened. The security cameras caught them purposely trying to be avoided. I feel like I need to raise another concern here, which is, if the only way you can notice this stuff happening is on the security cameras and no crimes are being committed, then who cares? If your 25-year-old son snuck his girlfriend in at 5:30 for like an hour and a half and you only notice later that day when you poured over the security footage like a psycho, then what's the big deal? My wife and I decided that even though he was 25, he would have a curfew from 12 a.m. to 7 a.m. Where, by the way, this is not the asshole, is the flare here. I'm dying. My wife and I decided that even though he's 25, he would have a curfew from 12 a.m. to 7 a.m., whereby he either had to be home by midnight and stay home, or had to stay out until the next morning. In addition to brining, that's not cool. In addition to bringing his girlfriends into the home, it's very disruptive when he's constantly coming in and out at all hours of the night. Look, I can accept that it would be annoying to hear someone entering and leaving your home at all hours of the night. I can relate to and understand that, but you do also have a child, like an adult child living with you. I feel like there's an element of like, that's kind of just life. Like, you can't mandate somebody's life to the extent that they literally never inconvenience you. I think you just have to accept that when you live with other people, especially when they're family, I mean, you could be like, hey, keep it down, but you can't be like, hey, you can't leave the house between 12 a.m. and 7 a.m. Anyway, my wife communicated... Oh, this curfew was a means to address these issues and was created jointly between my wife and I. Both of the parties involved. Me and my wife, who side on the same issue, and also my wife is always capitalized, which is truly hilarious. But didn't even ask the child. Okay, my wife communicated this curfew to him 2 days ago. I refuse to speak to him because he's bigger and stronger than me. Last night he came home at 1:50 a.m. I didn't even talk about the fact that, like, and again, I am closer to the son's age than the parents, presumably. I hope. Although the father does kind of sound like a little kid. You really want to have a curfew 12 a.m. to 7 a.m.? So if your son can't come home if he's like, oh, the Uber's going to get me there at 12:30, then he's like, I guess I'm just going to go sleep on the street? Like, that's not the really good parenting in my world. It's like how about like it's always, you've always got a safe place here, but please, be respectful. I know that's like a perfect world situation, but I'm just saying. Anyway, last night he came home at 1:50 a.m., 2 days after the new rule it was broken. He did call my wife to ask if he could come home late, and she agreed. So it sounds like he actually didn't really break the rule. It sounds like he got permission to break the rule, actually. I told her that I was shocked he would have the nerve to even ask 2 days after breaking our only real rule except for the other rule. This resulted in another huge argument in that I feel like the lack of retribution is the root cause of why he keeps breaking the rule. Why wouldn't he keep breaking the rule? The only thing that happens is my wife and I fight as a result. This guy's actually like my son. We've got to remove the safety net and let my son hit rock bottom. This destructive habit of coming home after midnight and sleeping with his girlfriend in his own bedroom is too much. He's going down a bad path. I feel it is fair and reasonable to not allow our 25-year-old son to bring his girls to our home in the middle of the night, and while my wife agrees, this continues to happen and be a source of arguments. Her perspective is that I have it in for him, and my perspective is simple. Just show us the necessary respect by doing exactly what I say at all times and follow this pretty obvious rule and also the other obvious rule. I'm being called the asshole because I won't let this issue go, and it's a recurring source of arguments, as I feel is a lack of respect which is fundamental and shouldn't be let go. How about the lack of respect that you've got for your adult son, who is probably like the age that you were when you had him in the first place? My wife thinks I'm the asshole for not letting the issue go and for not waiting until he eventually moves out. I am dying. Not the asshole. Hold on, you can't see, but I'm being completely sincere. Not the asshole, 63%. What? Everybody sucks here, 16%, which I have to be honest, I don't fully agree with. You're the asshole, 10%. I already know what the comments are going to be, but I am going to read them. You know as well as I do what it's going to be. We'll say it on 3. 3, 2, 1. Your house, your rules. Even if you told him he had to strip naked when he comes in and get deloused, even though he's an adult with autonomy and you should have your son's best interest in mind and, et cetera, et cetera. If you pay the mortgage, then legally it's not, you're the jurisdiction, you're the warden of the prison, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see what they say here. Oh yeah, also maybe a little jealousy because it sounds like the son is just laying pipe 24/7. You know what? Not the asshole. It serves him right. If you're gonna fuck, you're gonna fuck in the daytime, mister. Freaking sexy hunk. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how to open this post. I'm like, how do you open a post, man? Oh, there we go. I got it. All right. Okay, let's learn together, okay? Hey, I'm all for different perspectives, man. Let's see what we get. Not the asshole, but you need to enforce these rules. Hold on. Tell me more about this part. Not the asshole, but you need to enforce these rules. You either need to start being a boner killer and banging on his bedroom door when he brings these women home. But that would require the father to wake up when it actually happens instead of merely poring over the security footage like a fucking psycho the next day. Or you can put an extra set of deadbolts on the door that get locked at midnight and unlocked at 7 a.m. Holy crap, you guys are insane. Anybody else lock their son out of their house because I don't like when he stays out a little bit late? Don't get me wrong, like someone coming home at 4 a.m., like if I woke up, would be annoying for me. Coming home at like 12:30, I would be like, he's 25. He's 25 years old. Also, you should tell your wife that your son is never actually going to move out. How would you know this at all? Why bother when he can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, with no consequences, and have someone to keep the house clean? This has to be an alt for the OP. It's the only, I'm not even going to get into the economics of whatever. Just like, do you think the kid really, like, if he had options, he would be like, oh, I love living at home and getting harassed by my dad for like going to bed at 1 a.m., even though I'm an adult. I'm also, I don't know if this was like edited or something, but the kid's 25 years old, has no job, accused his dad of having it out for him when he was told to get a job, and pays no rent. Like, none of that is actually located in the post. Maybe that was edited later. I don't know. It sounds like he made that up. OP, at some point, you need to kick him out. Just hold on. Just everybody sucks here. Your son is the asshole for not respecting the rules of your house. However, you and your wife are as well for allowing it to continue for so long. I am dying that there is, we're only 2 parent comments in here, but I am dying that nobody has said your rules are ridiculous and have gone too far, and instead everybody else is just like, you're the asshole for not enforcing your totally sensible rules. Not the asshole. Why are you coddling a man in his mid-20s by allowing him to sleep in his bedroom when he pleases, and apparently doesn't even like wake you up? You got to see the security footage after. I got the impression this is more about them not wanting to be awoken by the sound of ham slaps more than trying to coddle their son. So good. Ham slaps. Not the asshole. It's not his house, it's yours. If he wants to do whatever he wants, then he could just buy his own, house. He's the asshole, not you. He's being disrespectful by not listening to you. Holy crap, man. This is crazy. Yeah, I don't know why, and I don't think this is, I always default to the idea that it's like an American thing, and I don't think that's fair. I'm just realizing homeowners have lost their mind. As one myself. I'm like, look, I don't even make the rules in my own house, so maybe this is just par for the course for me to be a little bit lackadaisical about it. But I'm like, when you have like a kid, like, you can say your house, your rules, but at the same time, like, I feel like the kind of parental love you have for your son has to, make it a little bit more accommodating for that as well. Oh my God. I'm baffled by him bringing home randoms at all hours. I moved back home at 26 after leaving an abusive relationship and then stayed because my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And yet, it's going to be like I did whatever they told me at all times. My parents knew I didn't have to be there, but I stayed to help. We had one rule. If you're not going to be home by the time we wake up, text us so we won't worry. That's a good rule. That's actually a fantastic rule. If you're going to be out late, send us a text that's like, I'll be home late, don't stay up. Just go to bed rather than wait. If I had sex, I usually had it somewhere else. Okay, there were some times I had it at home, which completely invalidates the point I was going to make, but usually I followed the rule. Usually I played by the standards that I'm forcing on this stranger. There were times my boyfriend stayed with me when my parents had gone, and I would never, ever disrespect my parents by having sex in their home while they were there. Is this a rule as well that I'm not? This is why you need a notary public. If you pay the mortgage, you're the only person legally allowed to fuck in that house. Please do not let the landlords figure this out, because it's going to be written as a clause into every lease. You really trying to fuck in the garage that I converted into an illegal suite? No ham slaps allowed, honey. This is insane. I would never disrespect my parents by having sex in their home, while they were there. When they weren't there, it was open season, man. 24/7. Certified freak. Not the asshole, but isn't it a little late to demand respect from your 25-year-old since he violates your rules every chance he gets? Do people... I can't believe I'm spending like half an hour just on this one specific post, but it's the first Am I the Asshole post I've ever seen where I disagree so much with the consensus. Like this one's blowing me away. I think you got to realize like there's two reasons that someone might break your rule, okay? One of the rules is one of the reasons someone might break your rule is because they don't have respect. The other one might be that your rule just is stupid. Like your rule might just actually suck, and you've designed it in such a way that there's essentially no way to comply with it. You know, if you made a rule that was like no eating, and then someone was like, hey, 12 hours later, he was breaking it. He couldn't even make it a month. I mean, anyway. Not the asshole. Okay. Your house, your rules. When he has a place he pays for, he can have his own rules. Sounds like he needs a job and an apartment. Thanks, the cum catcher. I do find this part weird. Or he had to stay out until the next morning. I'd rather have my kid home if he's got nowhere else to go. Like, what's the point of that? What's the desired effect? By the way, you're not the asshole. Your house, your rules. If he wants to break the rules, he can get his own fucking apartment. He can pull himself up by his bootstraps. By the way, this one part of your post specifically, I think makes you an asshole. Not the asshole, by the way. You're not an asshole, but I agree with you 100%, except for this one specific part that I think makes you an asshole, but you're not the asshole. Okay. Hold on. What's the point of this rule? To not affect people when they're asleep. It's very rude to come walking into someone's home. Someone in this case, by the way, being your parents, your life givers, that late, unless it was mentioned beforehand. Plus, he is 25, not 15. Wherever he is, he can stay until 7. I'm 21. My parents have the same rules for me. College student and doesn't pay any bills. The self-report at the end. Not the asshole. And there's one solution for this. Kick your son out of your house. That's the reading between the lines. Not the asshole. Even ordinary roommates typically make agreements about when and how often dates can be in the house. Look, first year university, first time I ever lived with a roommate, never broached the conversation at all. My roommate had his girlfriend come from out of the city to stay with us. Our dorm room had 2 single beds. I was like, as long as she sleeps in your bed, I'm not sweating it. Big whoop. It was just assumed that it's an accommodation you make when you live with other people. Second year university, I lived with 6 other people. Never had this conversation about, romantically who's allowed to come over and how often. Now, were there some times maybe in third year where we were like, hey, one of our housemates' girlfriends basically lives with us, and yet he's paying the normal amount of the utility share, and as a result, maybe he should be paying 2/8 instead of 1/7. We did consider that at times. However, that's not that big of a deal. That's like a $20 a month difference probably overall. Apart from that, nobody really cared. It was not Malf. I never lived with Malf. Plus, Malf, he's very respectful. Info, is he paying rent? Hi, he does not pay rent or any house bills. Okay, so this is where some of the info came from. He's 25 years old. Kick him out. You're going to make me cyberbully, man. This is where you then go into their post history and figure out what else they're posting. If they ever posted anything about the economy being fucked up or like minimum wage being too low, that's where you go into the post history and you're like, oh, really? Because you were advocating for someone who's 25 years old to get kicked out of their parents' house just because you're jealous that they're laying pipe constantly. Okay, we finally found a post that maybe we can find some common ground with. Everybody sucks here. You can't give a 25-year-old man a curfew. That's ridiculous. We have found a human being that lives in the real world, at least a little bit. You definitely cannot give a 25-year-old man a curfew. If he's going to live with you, then he needs to pay rent. Maybe, okay, look, you buy yourself some honey with this. I don't necessarily agree with that, but it depends on the situation, I guess. At that point, okay, sure. If he pays rent, then his visitors are his business. That's fair. If he's waking you up and causing a disturbance, that's one thing. But you fixating on this rule is masking the real problem. This is very true. He's acting like a teenager and you're treating him like one. This is an unhealthy cycle. Tell him he has 1 month to get his act together and start paying rent or move out. You should make him move into the basement room either way to give you all some space. This, honestly, this has made me a little bit more amenable to that side. I do understand he has a little bit more ability to say he can do what he wants if he pays some rent, for sure. I'm not saying he should have to pay rent. I also think that forcing your 25-year-old son to vacate his bedroom to go live in the basement is just it's always a weird like power flex, right? Like it's like a prison warden inmate situation. Dude, I'm dying at this stuff. Not the asshole. It's your home, your rules. You make the rules. If he wants to make the rules, he needs his own place. He needs to grown up and GTFO of your house. He's acting like a baby. I'm surprised a woman, the air quotes don't even make any sense, would even date someone. Oh, you know what? Because here's what he's saying. Any woman that would date somebody who doesn't respect his father's curfew is not a woman. They're merely a girl. I understand. That's what he's saying there. By the way, he's getting super entitled, and that isn't going to change. Source, dude, just trust me. You should give him a 60-day notice to evict. This will help him grow up. I know it works from experience. A post that I read on the Turning Point USA forums. Holy shit. It's his home too, minus 13 votes. Oh, no, it isn't. He doesn't even pay rent or help with the bills. Besides, there's a pandemic. Bringing strangers home is dangerous. But not between the hours of 7 a.m. and midnight. That's when the virus sleeps. Oh man, what a post. I mean, that one. Whew, I got a lot of meat out of that one. Oh, we finally have our first asshole post. Oh no, come on, man. Come on. This one, there's no way. Yeah, am I the asshole filtered doesn't have, it only allows the judgment bot to collate the results. It doesn't show like people there don't talk about their reaction to it. Am I the asshole for assigning my family homework and not visiting until it's done? I recently quit my PhD program to get a job because I realized academia was not what I wanted and I was better off just using my master's to get a job. Everyone I know from school or has experience with grad school agreed I'm doing the right thing because I've only done 1 year of PhD classes, so it's a good time to quit. I've had people tell me they wish they'd quit at my level, but they feel trapped now because they're well into their dissertations. My family were not understanding. None of them have ever been to grad school, but they believe that I was very far along and quitting at the last minute. For context, how long is a PhD? A PhD is like another, it's four plus years, right? 4 to 6 years, 4 to 8 years. Average length 5 to 7 years. Okay, so he quit like 20. It wasn't like he was a year away. So he was like at most maybe like 25% of the way there. Okay, that seems reasonable if you decided it's not what you want to do at the moment. I told them 1 year of classes. By the way, no, I'm not even going to go there. I was going to say maybe it matters more what they're doing, but let's not even get into that. They believe I was very far along and quitting at the last minute. I told them 1 year of classes is nothing, but they don't realize how hard the exam and dissertation are. I think I could get them done. They think I could get them done if I just spent a little bit more time. I figured they wouldn't listen to me, but they might listen to someone else. I found an article written by a college professor that describes what it's like to get a PhD in my field. I told them I would not visit until they read the article and wrote a few paragraphs summarizing the article and discussing why someone would not choose to get their PhD. Hey, you ever hear someone say that you can be very accomplished in academics and still be pretty dumb? I've been there. it, look, just finish the post before we go off. I guess there could be something to ameliorate this. It's not meant to be a long and difficult project. I just wanted them to understand my point of view. One thing you need to know about human beings is they love being assigned homework, especially like from their child. And also being railroaded into an ultimatum where your child literally won't visit you until you watch this. Anyway, my boyfriend and siblings did their essays. Did their essays? And apologized. And my boyfriend went above and beyond by including other sources besides the article. It's probably because you're dating another nerd like yourself, dummy. That's all you know. You've been in school for 24 years. You're 26 years old. All you know how to do is write essays. He probably got a big old nerd boner for it. Who would have thought that your boyfriend would, acquiesce to your ridiculous ultimatum? What a ridiculous, what a surprise. My parents still haven't done their essays and haven't apologized and still complain that I'm throwing away all the work I did. Am I the asshole for standing my ground and not visiting until they do their homework? This is a classic example of not such a horrible idea, but an absolutely disastrous execution. You're the asshole, but slightly based. Yeah, I would agree with that. Look, okay, so now this is the part of the discourse where I then get myself into trouble. One thing I do want to know, and I imagine that it's not the case, but did the parents pay for the education up to this point? That doesn't give them ownership over what the child does with their life. But if the parents pay for the first year of the PhD program, and then I guess many PhD programs are like scholarship driven, maybe, I don't know. But then I can understand why they might be like, hey, you're quitting in a situation. PhDs are usually funded. Okay, well, then disregard. That's fair enough. But I could see why in that case they might be like, we got to give this more thought. You also, like... Are your parents maybe not seeing it your way? Yeah, but you said it yourself. Like they've never been to grad school. Like for a large swath of the population, perhaps even myself included. The idea in your head is just like the more school you go to, the better your job is at the end. Where I think the way it actually works in some disciplines is that if you get your PhD, you're kind of gated into the academic pipeline. And if you just stick with your master's, I don't know, maybe you could work in like private industry or something related in that sense. So there might also just be like a difference in, career path based on them, but your parents might not be aware of that if they haven't been to grad school. Lord knows I'm barely aware of it. And I didn't go to grad school, but many of my friends have their master's degrees. So I think I'm able to chime in here. I guess it depends on the field. That's fair. But, the reason you're the asshole is because, look, if you're a parent, you might not want to hear this, but part of being a kid is being annoyed by your parents now and then because they have a different perspective on issues than you do, and you talk about it because if you're trying to be a happy family. You just tolerate it because you probably annoy the shit out of them in other ways. Like every time I talk to my mom, she's like, have you guys gotten your wills done yet? And I'm always like, no. And then she always like admonishes me. And in my head, I'm like, we're fucking busy. Like all the time. It's like, I know it's good to get done. It's on the list, but it's one of those things that's like important, but not urgent. Hopefully. So every time she talks to me like, I can't believe like you lazy bones aren't getting your wills done. And it's more for me. I'm like every single day we're like clawing and scrapping for like 15 minutes of free time. Right. But then simultaneously, I also remember that when I was in college, I was probably annoying the crap out of my mom. you know, or even sometimes now she'll be like, hey, if I'm driving somewhere, she'll be like, you know, like if we go on vacation last week, she's like, text me when you get there. And then like 7 hours later, she's like, oh, did you get there? And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. So, you know, like you take the good and the bad, but you have conversations about it. What I would be very upset with, I would probably get over it like pretty quick. But if my mom was like, "Hey, I'm not going to talk to you again until you watch this 15-minute video about why it's important to have a will," and then like write me a summary of the video so that I know that you watched it, I would like that would put a strain on our relationship. I would find it very disrespectful. And that's from my parent down. The child up is, I think, even more of an uphill battle to some extent. Even though they're an adult, you know, they're probably not used to the relationship going in that direction, right? So, yeah, I would say you're the asshole. I mean, you could link them the video and be like, hey, if you want to know where I stand with this PhD stuff, this video would help me, like, you know, this would help you come to an understanding with me, maybe, or watch it with them or something like that. But instead, you know, being like, I will not visit you until you've done it. I'm like, whoa, geez, somebody thinks she's super important. Oh, they're not going to come over and ask me for money for 6 months. Oh, that's going to be so hard for me. It's not fair. You miss your kid, don't get me wrong. But like, I mean, as long as you're trying to bring a power dynamic into the situation for no reason, then you know, be careful is I guess what I'm trying to say. Anyway, let's see. You're the asshole, but I love you for it. I think that's fair. And this is a joke. Tell them they should apply themselves more and stick with. That's a joke. I can laugh about that. I'm not humorless. Ha 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 ha. Everybody sucks here. They may be naive and are being rude about it, but you sound insufferable. I wouldn't do an assignment because someone in my family demanded it and I actually like reading and writing. Yes, absolutely. I agree. This is funny as hell. Everybody sucks here. Everybody sucks here. Assigning homework is juvenile. Yeah, okay. Look, people, this is what, because in the last post, I was like, holy crap. I'm not clued into the rest of society, even though Chad agreed with me for the most part. This one, I'm like, the reactions are completely correct. You'd think if I guess it just goes to show everybody's got an opinion that they're aberrant on, I guess. Not the asshole. Clever way. I definitely, when I think about the way that I interact with my parents, I really want clever to be like the first word that comes to mind. Not the asshole. Clever way to flip the script on them that way. If they can't write a few paragraphs, they have no right to lecture you about dropping out of a second graduate degree. Do they have 3 degrees? No? Tell them to shut it. Hey, Mom, shut it. Owned. And then my mom handed me a crisp $100 bill. A master's is nothing to sneeze at. Well, it's good to see things through if the end result is desirable. So many people wind up in debt with degrees they never use simply because that's what's expected of them. The never quit attitude hurts everyone. Sure, okay. None of that was included in the original post, but go off, I guess. This is a classic online debate technique, I think, which is... write something that's unrelated but true at the bottom of your post to make the rest of your post appear that much more credible. Comment deleted by user. Worst advice I have ever read. What did they say? Something to the effect of, sometimes family members say inappropriate things. It's part of being a family. You have to accept it. Oh no, that was my literal point. Thanks for telling me, and I agree with you. That is utter bullshit. If anything, families should be held to higher standards than other people. Okay. Enjoy exclusively arguing with your parents for the rest of your life if they do anything that isn't exactly what you want them to do. Being inconvenienced or irked by other people is utter bullshit. I never do that to other people. Other people are always enamored with my inane conversations about 45 minutes of... Did you see that tweet that was like... women, and this is not my tweet, so don't get mad. It was like, I will literally give my boyfriend a 45-minute preamble just to talk shit about somebody for 5 seconds. This is, for me, the embodiment of that. They think that everyone's so enamored with their conversations at all times. Maybe I'm projecting. Not the asshole. If they'd apologized, at least then might say yes. If they'd done anything to indicate they get there wrong, I might say yes. Okay, don't leave me hanging. Geez, could we get some updates so that annual contract 115 can finally weigh in on this situation? We're all hanging with the thread about waiting to see where annual contract 115 falls on this issue. Not the asshole. Hard not the asshole. One thing I notice about older people, not the asshole. One thing I've noticed in my anecdotal evidence about old people is they're convinced they've already experienced our hardships. My parents come from an era where shit costs next to nothing and both have hired help to do their laundry, cook, and whatnot. Getting a degree is easy as hell. Feels nowhere near as advanced. Hardest part is getting into university. After that, they just go to the discos every single day. When I showed them my schoolwork, they never bugged me about being dumb or slow ever again. Are you okay? Do you need the... Like, look, everybody likes to talk about themselves. 3 words, 2 of which are duplicates, about the post they're replying to. And then just the entire paragraph about needing a friend, really. And just being really rude to their parents, which admittedly, maybe they deserve some degree of rudeness, but like, I don't even know them, man. You're asking me to kind of meet you there in the middle. They might be nice people, okay? Everybody sucks here. Your family is not supporting you, and that's idiotic. Okay, that's fair. However, assigning them homework with summaries, dude, what kind of passive-aggressive bullshit is that? You could send them the article, tell them why it's important to you and what you took away from it, but making them do a book report makes you an asshole too. Yes, I couldn't agree more, quite frankly. There we go. We finally, Grandpa Joe Sloth, the certified proctologist. There we go. I don't get why everyone thinks you went too far assigning the essay. Your family were trying to make you do years of study. Were they, though, like, based on the post? Or were they just, like, dropping out as a major decision? Or don't even call it dropping out, but, you know, abstaining from completing it? Were they trying to make you do years of study and write a whole-ass academic thesis? Or were they just like, are you sure you want to do that? A 1-page essay on a single article about why you're being unreasonable is hardly anything by comparison and hilariously apt, not the asshole. Why are so many posters so into the idea of owning their parents? That's when I flipped the script on my father, who, you know, was a great male role model for me for the entirety of my high school career. What's up with people acting like writing a couple paragraphs is so hard? It's nuts! I always forget when you go 3 posts down in anytime you have to click read more comments, you're about to read some of the most insane shit that's ever been written. We gotta not do that ever again. Okay, let's throw a slash marker in here real quick. Oh. So many people are so concerned about, you know, being the top dog in their family. So